Welcome everyone to the special meeting of the Ward 3 NPA. I will be Zachary Cummings. I will be your facilitator tonight. May all the other steering committee members introduce themselves?
Sure. Brooks Cummings, Ward 3, obviously.
Sarah Fields, Ward 3.
Michelle Borbas, Ward 3.
Chris Aisley, Ward 3, College Street.
And we have Charlie Messing, who's from
It's a robot. SSTA has become impossible to reach.
Can you introduce yourself?
Charlie Messing, victim of an android. Ward 3, I live at Pine and College. And I feel very strongly about the bus and about the sidewalks. Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, and we have our lovely residents of Ward 3. If anybody wants to share their names and which neighborhood you live in, you're more than welcome to.
My name's David Siski. I'm also in Ward 3.
Jill Lesh, Ward 3, College and Battery. Donna Vista, Street.
Dale Welch, Ward 3, Homewood Avenue. Pretty Richmond, right next door to Pond City.
Dave Lane, Bruce State. Ben Smith, Ward 3.
Emily Dreyfus, Ward 3. Cynthia Ziski, Ward 3.
Lee Morgan, my pronouns are he, him. I live at George and Peru.
Hi, Mabel Grant, Central District City Councilor, which covers Wards 2 and 3.
And anybody online who would like to introduce themselves?
Sure. Shannon Riley, Ward 3.
All right. So at 6:37, I'd like to call the order of the meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second. All right. The agenda has been all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. The agenda is now in order. And at 6:37, we would like to move into the adoption of the new bylaws, subsequent discussion and vote. Do I have a motion? All right. Is there a second?
Move to adopt bylaws. Move to adopt the proposed bylaws that were included with the public meeting warnings.
I'll need a second. All right. All in favor?
Oh, you got it. You're point of order. Point of order.
You're recognized.
Can I make my point of order?
Yes, you are recognized.
Okay, so you're not following proper Robert's rules. So there's a motion, a second, discussion, and then vote.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the clarification. So we have a motion. We have a second. Now the floor is open for discussion.
Well, I made the motion.
You made the motion.
First, so yeah, as Mr. Cummings has announced, we're here tonight to consider a new set of bylaws for the proposed Ward 3 bylaws. We prepared a memorandum to kind of outline some of the changes here. So I'll just kind of read through it to kind of give some folks the context here. The memo was also included among the civic clerk as part of the meeting warning as well. This memo outlines the key differences between the current Ward 3 Neighborhood Planning Assembly bylaws adopted March 10th, 2022, and the newly proposed version. The proposed bylaws represent a significant restructuring and clarification of the NPA's governing rules. The most substantial changes are a move towards a more formal, structured document, a lower voting age to encourage broader participation, clearer rules for the conduct and quorum of the meeting, and significant updates to the composition, eligibility, and terms for the steering committee. Below is a detailed comparison of the key articles. Preamble, guiding principles, and purpose. Structure. The new bylaws are more concise. The lengthy preamble of the current bylaws, which details the history and functions of the NPA, has been shortened significantly. Purpose. The new bylaws add a dedicated Article 1 purpose, which directly lists the NPA's functions as established by the Burlington City Council resolution. This content was previously integrated into the preamble. Guiding principles. The principles remain largely the same in spirit, but are formatted as a simple list in the new version. Membership. Voting age. The eligibility for voting members has been lowered from 17 years or older in the current bylaws to 14 years or older in the new version. Participation by non-members. The new bylaws are more restrictive. They state that non-members may only speak during a public forum after members have spoken and may not participate in general discussion. Current bylaws allow non-members to participate in discussions, but not to vote. Meetings. Frequency. The meeting requirement has been changed from regular monthly meetings to a minimum of 4 meetings per year. Quorum. The new bylaws establish a clear quorum for general NPA meetings requiring 10 members to conduct business. The current bylaws only define a quorum for the steering committee. Conduct. The new bylaws explicitly state that meetings will be conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. Voting. The new bylaws specify that a 2/3 majority vote is required for bylaw amendments and the removal of a steering committee member. The current bylaws only require a simple majority vote for most actions, except for bylaws amendments require a 2/3 vote. Public forum. The new bylaws mandate that each agenda allocates at least 10 minutes for public forum, an increase from the 5 minutes that has been previously required. Steering committee. Composition. The number of steering committee members has been adjusted from no fewer than 3 and no more than 6 to at least 3 and no more than 7. Eligibility. The new bylaws introduce explicit eligibility restrictions stating that the mayor, city councilors, school commissioners, and mayor-appointed city department heads cannot serve on the steering committee. The current bylaws have no such restrictions. Term limits. The current bylaws impose a term limit requiring a member to step down for at least 1 year after serving 4 consecutive one-year terms. The new bylaws remove this term limit. Duties. Duties are restructured into clearer categories: civic oversight, meeting management, financial management, and neighborhood outreach. The specific roles from the old bylaws are removed in favor of these broader duty categories. Removal. A steering committee member can be removed for just cause by a 2/3 vote under the new bylaws. Following removal, they are ineligible for re-election for 1 year. The current bylaws only require a simple majority vote for removal and include no subsequent ineligibility period. And as a side note, also allow members to be removed for any reason. Miscellaneous provisions, non-discrimination. The new bylaws reference the City of Burlington's Declaration of Inclusion for additional context. Public meeting. The new version explicitly references the Vermont Open Meeting Law, whereas the current version refers more generally to public meeting requirements. Conflict of interest. The definition of a conflict of interest has been clarified to specify a significant personal or financial interest. In summary, the proposed bylaws create a more formally structured and legally grounded framework for the Ward 3 Neighborhood Planning Assembly, with significant changes aimed at increasing youth participation, clarifying meeting procedures, and refining the rules governing the steering committee. Thank you.
Point of information, has the change to agenda section for part A been struck because it was not included in the memo? Do you want me to clarify? So you have changed in the new bylaws under section 4 agenda part A, the steering committee shall set the agenda for all meetings, and part B, the steering committee shall consider future agenda items upon request of members, city departments, and community organizations. That is a change, and it's not reflected in the memorandum. So since we're voting on that tonight, can you explain that to the room so people know that what amendment they're voting on?
As we stated in the memo, one of the reasons was to make the bylaws more concise and we removed redundant items that were covered elsewhere. And in this particular case, that was covered under the state's open meeting statute.
You're not describing the amendment.
I have nothing further to say.
Point of information, can the chair describe how that amendment is different from how the bylaws are now? If not, I'm happy to help out. I just want to make sure people understand an amendment that they're voting on. They are supposed to be included on the agenda. That is the only one that was left out of the memo. So I think it's fair to ask that that be explained.
And you're addressing article,
I can just say it if you don't know it off the top of your head. That's
well, no, I'm just trying to
Continue.
keep track of where we're at. So just please,
yes. So section 4, which is the agenda,
all right.
it's under Article 3 meetings. So, I mean, I'm just trying to respect the procedure. So do you want me to state what's different?
Well, I'm just reading the present, the item under the present bylaws. So from the bylaw writing process, we've just interpreted it as just a clarifying and removing redundant information. But if you have anything
Yes.
further to say, please elevate yourself.
So it's not removing redundant information. It's completely changing how something is done. So in the previous bylaws, any member of the Ward 3 NPA could add an item to a future agenda by making a motion at a meeting and receiving a simple majority. The amendment strikes that. So members will no longer have the ability to add an item to a future agenda. It will solely be at the discretion of the steering committee.
That is not correct. The bylaws provided for the addition of an item to an agenda that exists at the beginning of a meeting. It does not provide for the addition of an agenda to a future meeting, which has not yet been created. This is important to note because there is one NPA that does have that provision, and that is the wards 4 and 7.
So it does state that in our prior bylaws, and even if let's say you're correct, and it does only apply to adding an item to the agenda of the current meeting. So I'll acquiesce and say yes. That's what it is. So I think it is still important to highlight that these amendments would strike that. So no member at the meeting would be able to add an item to the agenda by majority.
That is not true. So the bylaws are subservient to the state's open meeting law, and there is provisions within the state's open meeting law to allow a member to make a motion to modify the agenda similar to what was in the bylaws. So because it is already covered by the open meeting law, there is no longer a need to have it in the bylaws. So it has been removed.
So
I'd like to rise to a point of order of myself. With this is getting into a back and forth discussion. It's been pretty clear that it's there. If you're not familiar with the provisions in the open meeting law, I'm sure that the city attorney can provide some clarification on it. But it was removed because that provision is allowed under the state's open meeting law.
So point of information at like the next meeting, so would I at a regular meeting be able to make a motion to add something to the agenda?
Yeah.
Yes, but under the provision of open meeting law, which is the procedural foundation for all of this, is that amendments to agendas must happen at the first order of the agenda, which would be the adaptation of said agenda.
So at the motion to adopt the agenda, somebody could make a motion to amend the agenda. Okay.
Do we have any other further questions or comments from the audience today?
Discussion?
Discussion, yes. Any other?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By all means, grab a mic.
I'm Donna Bister. I was a steering committee member for many years, many years. And there are a few things in here that I'll be voting against this for several reasons. Some, I think its wording is sloppy in a lot of places. And it needs an editor, but the main things are removing term limits for steering committee members. There were no term limits when I was a steering committee member. I stayed on and on and on because nobody else stood up. the minute I resigned, other people came forward and there was a much more diverse and better representation on the steering committee. And I'm quite fearful that we'll return to a standing committee that stays forever if there are no term limits. And it's only being off for 1 year. It's not like you can never come. Secondly, 4 meetings a year is asking for non-participation. People need for public meetings a standing, regular time and place and a consistent way of knowing about what's on the agenda, who's going to be presenting and other things like that. It's much better to cancel a meeting if there are no agenda items than it is to have a schedule that's so far apart that nobody's going to put it on their calendar. I have a few other things, but I think that's enough time for me. Thanks.
Nobody's allowed to speak a second time until after everyone's been given an opportunity, so even once.
If there are other questions.
If anyone else wants to participate in the discussion? First,
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is to, what's your name?
Done.
Done. Okay. Hi, Donna. I'm Ben Smith, and I understand what you're concerned about, just 4 meetings a year, but it says minimum of 4 meetings a year. It doesn't say they're only going to be 4 meetings a year. I don't know that the steering committee has any idea to change the thing about once a month, regular meetings. It's just,
They're changing the requirement, and that's great.
well, but I just want people to understand it says a minimum of 4. It doesn't say that they're only going to meet 4 times a year. When you made your presentation to me, it sounded like you thought that they're saying it's only going to be 4 times a year. So, okay, that's it. That's all I want to say. Thanks. So I will be voting for it. I'm sorry.
anyone else?
Let's go a vote.
Wait, no, this is, everyone's had an opportunity to speak the first time. We are recognized.
Yes, so I have an amendment to under Article 2 membership, Section 3 participation by non-members, specifically referencing I guess A and B, non-members may speak during public forum after all members wishing to speak have had an opportunity to do so. And B, non-members may attend meetings of the Ward 3 NPA, but are not eligible to participate in discussion or vote. So I move to amend the amendment to add elected officials representing Ward 3 constituents must be allowed to participate in discussion, regardless of which ward they live in. So why I want to do this is the very first words of our bylaws state that the NPA exists to encourage resident participation in city government by facilitating communication between neighborhood residents and city officials. Restricting Councillor Grant, who represents Ward 3 voters as our central district councillor, but lives in Ward 2, to only speaking during the public forum and not in any discussions is the opposite of that. This amendment undermines the NPA's stated purpose and cuts residents off from their elected representatives. So to clarify process, I've made a motion. It would require a second, then go to a discussion and then a vote.
Have a second to Lee's amendment.
He's sitting there, he's like,
No, you got to go first. All right. Okay. So there's been a second, so we'll open the floor to discussion for the amendment. Recognized?
So I would just like to point out, we kind of did a little bit out of order. There needs to be a motion on the floor before allowing someone to have to speak, but got the point across. I'm just going to simply say that I agree with Mr. Bergen about the intent of the NPA. It's provides citizen right, an opportunity for ordinary residents to connect with their elected officials. And I think that this body would be better served if elected officials would come to the NPA and use it as an opportunity to solicit the opinions of ordinary residents, as opposed to using it as a platform to promote their own viewpoints and agendas, which has so often been the case here in this particular forum. I would also like to point out that the Ward 3 counselor who actually represents this and does have the ability to come participate and actively engage discussions has, for whatever any number of reasons, chosen not to avail himself of that particular opportunity. And I would also point out that these rules are consistent with the other NPAs there, and participation, it says attendance and participation. It doesn't define the participation. And so one could interpret the participation to be as allowing them to participate in public forum. That would satisfy the participation clause. At the end of the day, it seems to me that if the city council wanted to have non-members participate in these types of forum, they wouldn't have contemplated organizing the NPAs on a ward by ward basis. So I think that, if that were the intent, if everybody could come in and speak from outside the ward, it kind of defeats the point of having a neighborhood planning assembly, because it's no longer a neighborhood, because you have people coming in from outside the neighborhood to share their perspectives. So on that note, I would like to call the question and vote on Mr. Morgan's motion.
Well, second.
Has to be voted.
All right, now, all in favor, please say.
What are we voting
All
on?
right, we are,
Voting to call the question to end debate amendments on this.
yes,
Point of order, I yielded because I felt the residents should have the right to speak first, but I have been raising my hand and I would like the opportunity
Yeah.
to speak. Thank you. So I don't think that I need to be singled out, but I do think it needs to be recognized that when the city changed the representation, there were people who argued that due to the amount of work and the number of issues in the city, there should be 2 counselors per ward. But that was not selected. It was 1 ward counselor and 1 district counselor who would represent 2 wards. So that means whoever sits in the district seats, I go to both NPAs. And I represent both wards, even though I now, because of the redistricting, live in Ward 2. I lived in Ward 3 for over 25 years. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not just your city council representation, it's any individual that you invite to speak on certain issues. Not every person who comes from the city lives within the ward or possibly lives within the city. So then if someone questions someone participating in an agenda item that the NPA has created, but someone else disagrees with them and doesn't want them to speak, then you would have to essentially vote on suspending the rules each time. So what I am suggesting is that the membership speak to the exception for council representation and for representation of anyone that the NPA invites to speak on a particular issue to the council, to the NPA. I will also say that I know that based on my experience and my relationship, I know was very much at odds with former Chief Murad, and that there were many people who disagreed with that. But, and I'm sorry for that. I did stand for what I thought was best. I fully support this current police chief. I think we can all see that he's doing a very different job. And I'm sorry if people feel like I was grandstanding. I will leave it there. Thank you.
all right, thank you, Councilor Grant. All right, so a vote has been onto the floor to call to question and end debate on Lee's amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Or actually, may you have your hands up, please, and tally up.
Oops.
Okay, 16, all right, and all in opposition?
No,
All right, the ayes have it. Debate on, sorry, 16-3, please. 16 ayes, 3 nays.
So at this point, we would would probably actually vote on the amendment that Mr. Morgan has proposed.
All right, so, debate,
can you read it again?
or yes, yes, go ahead.
All right, so the amendment is, let me just get to the right spot here. So in regards to member participation, I vote to add elected officials representing Ward 3 constituents must be allowed to participate in discussion regardless of which ward they live in.
Thank you for the, reread.
Mhm.
Right. Debate on the subject is over, and now we come to vote on the amendment itself. All right, sorry, Drew. All right. Debate has been closed, and now we're going to be voting on the amendment itself. All in favor of the amendment?
Can you restate?
Sorry. Debate on the floor has been closed. The voting on said amendment that we just read.
Do you want me to read that again? Okay. And let me know if I need to be louder. So I move to amend to add to the part on member participation. Elected officials representing Ward 3 constituents must be allowed to participate in discussion regardless of which ward they live in.
Thank you for clarification.
Mhm.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, hands up. Right, and all in opposition, please.
You don't deserve it.
All right, we had 7 ayes and 10, oh, sorry, and 11 nays. These amendment has failed. All right. Chris?
I think Councilor Grant made some good points. The intent here is not to prevent people from outside of the ward to come and present to the NPA. Certainly, we have a long-standing tradition of having speakers from various city departments, some of whom do not even live in Burlington, to come and speak. So the intent, I think, is to have provide a forum for people, again, that live in the neighborhood to speak on the issues here. So I think that there's bylaws, certainly people have differing opinions, but I think on the whole, they're an improvement on the other ones. So I would like to call the question on the main motion and adopt and take a vote on the actual proposed bylaws themselves.
Right. Do we have a second? Christopher's been recognized as the second, okay. Call to vote for the new Ward 3 bylaws. All in.
Point of information, can you clarify what this vote is?
All right, so this vote is to end the debate on excuse me, yes. So this is a vote to now end the debate on primary motion and open up the floor to actually voting on said amendments, on said bylaws.
Thank you.
All in favor of ending debate, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, hands up so I can tally you. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have 15 ayes. Any of opposition, please declare. All right. So with 15 ayes and 2 nays, debate is now closed. And the vote for the and moving to vote for the new bylaws.
Like to restate the motion.
Yeah, please restate.
So the main motion is to adopt the new set of bylaws as warned in the meeting notice as well.
Any seconds onto that?
Second.
Second, all right. Onto the floor, we will be voting for the NPA bylaws. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, I have 15 ayes. Any in opposition of adopting the new NPA bylaws? All right, we have 5 in opposition. The ayes have it. What's the count? We had
You want hands again?
Yeah.
yeah, hands and I.
Numbers
Yes,
work.
all in favor of it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then all in opposition. All right, we have 14 ayes
Yeah.
and 5 nays. The new NPA bylaws have been adopted. All right. All right. Yes. Pulse. And this one. Do I have a motion to move into public comment?
Does anybody want to do a?
We just, we're not voting, so we
We're not
just
voting?
move
Are we
into it.
moving into it?
Just a 2 minute or 10 minutes, we're gonna do people that can speak for 2 minutes about whatever subject matter interests
Yeah.
them that's relevant. to board.
We already have a few signups in advance, so, but
But
anybody
anybody
else?
else sign up is so we can capture everyone's information for. Anybody?
Yeah, I guess I'll go.
Yeah, right.
Do you have a pen? I don't have a pen on me.
Okay.
Me?
Yes, so we've had a few people sign up in advance. Brooks Cummings would be the first to go.
Okay, so I signed up to discuss my feelings for the food service that's in City Hall Park. I'm not going to contest the fact that it's needed and valuable. The concern I have is that I'm feeling like it's not a safe medium in which to distribute food because of sterile food habits or whatever. I don't know what they follow. And given that we don't have a permitting process, we are passively allowing people to serve food, which I won't make comment on that. But I just feel like it would be valuable to have a permitting process where there are expectations around food safety, delivery, and to be honest, the trash that is left by the plates and plastic serving and everything else reaches not just City Hall Park, but goes a good half a block or a block around City Hall Park. I frequently walk by the bank that's right across the place from, and there's half-eaten food sitting on the windowsills and stuff like that. I'm speak frequently with the guy from Parks and Rec that does the cleanup. And now that we have not only noon, but many times at night, food being preferred or delivered, I'm sorry, that it's really making his job difficult. And in addition to picking up syringes and empty cans and everything else that we all enjoy in City Hall Park, this additional refuse that is being generated. So my thought is, if we had a permit, there'd be an expectation about these people going out and spending some time cleaning up. Yeah, I got my cleaning up the waste that they developed. I'm set. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooks. Oof. Our next speaker who signed up in advance is Trudy Richmond.
Okay, so some of you have heard me speak before. My interest is in the treatment of mental health and substance abuse and how Our city, I think, has some gaps in our treatment. And I was looking on South Prospect Street up at the hospital where the new mental health walk-in clinic is. And I was just trying to get some statistics and see how that's going. And I realized, which I didn't know, that the hospital has a drug, I don't know if it's treatment, but they have different programs. Looks like day treatment and different things and I was totally unaware that was even up there. So and I'm somebody that really is interested in this stuff. So I'm just wondering, I have a feeling there are lots of gaps in our system within our city, and different people have different pieces of this treatment. And I would really like to know, I know one of the things that we're really missing here are sober living houses. Like we have none in Burlington, none, 0 sober living houses. And that's a huge piece of recovery for people. And we don't have any. And I don't know if anybody is looking into that. I really wonder what our faith community is doing about that. I know different communities, they come together and really do some wonderful things around sober living for people. I'm wondering why the church up on North Ave that's up there by the Hannafords does not volunteer their parking lot at night to let people that are unhoused but have cars parked there. They have a big parking lot. I just think a lot could be done, and I think I don't know who has the whole picture. I really don't know who knows exactly what everyone's doing in the city to address this. And they keep talking about a hub, somebody that's going to know. There's going to be one place where you go and you're going to get all the information. They keep talking about it. I keep waiting for it. I don't hear anything. And I really, really, if we want to get a handle on substance abuse, this addiction, we must come together and have all the pieces. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee, I understand that you fill out a form.
I certainly did.
The floor is yours. Timekeepers.
Got it.
What's the time?
2 minutes.
All right. Hi, folks. My name is Lee Morrigan. My pronouns are he, him. I live in Ward 3. So yes, I just wanted to say a few words. Tonight was my last good faith effort to return this meeting to a place where the majority of the neighborhood feels safe and comfortable to walk into the doors. Those efforts have failed. It's clear that it's just not where this meeting is going, and I can read the tea leaves. So instead of continuing to struggle against that, I will be ceasing to validate this meeting with my attendance. I look forward to connecting with some of you out in the community, and I just want to leave with these words from Aurora Levins Morales. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders. Teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies. Recite them in your sleep. Here in the cruel shadow of empire, another world is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And before closing it out, I just want to offer the opportunity for anyone else who wants to participate in the public forum. Okay. Chris is going to stand up.
Yeah, I just would like to recognize the efforts of Mr. Morgan. And while it's clear we have differences of opinion, I think it's pretty clear that Mr. Morgan is very dedicated to our community and has put a lot of time and effort into what they believe is a good faith effort to move us forward. And while again, I don't always agree, I appreciate that. I also wanted to say that, when we look at our going on our community table, we have people that engage in behavior that infringes on the rights of others and causes harm to our community. There needs to be accountability and meaningful consequences. And if it turns out that the person's behavior is being driven by an untreated medical condition, then we need to try to get them into some kind of treatment program, whether it's mental health conditions, substance use disorders. And the reality is we just simply don't have enough beds, whether it's for shelter beds or for treatment beds. And that's not an issue that Burlington is really equipped to handle, as many of our counselors and our mayor have pointed out. But at the same time, we also need to recognize that when a person has one of these conditions, it's considered a medical problem. And as a patient, they have a legal right to refuse treatment. and a number of them have. And at that point, the only option is, well, you don't want to go to treatment, we'll just send you to jail. And I mean, that doesn't work either, because these folks are not necessarily pathological criminals. They're struggling from an untreated medical condition for which they refuse to seek treatment. But they're not necessarily bad people. So I feel like there needs to be some kind of mechanism, like third option, so that folks like that can be removed from the community so that they're no longer causing harm, but in a way that doesn't result in them coming out on the other side as a criminal. Because when that happens, it sets them up for failure. It's hard to get housing, it's hard to get jobs, and it's not a good option. And I would really like to see some additional options. And it just reminds me how many things in our society are fully framed in a binary choice. And we're living in a non-binary world, and I think that the public deserves to have more than two options on any given issue. So thank you for your time.
You got one.
I did find out, I just want to say that what you're not accepting or pointing out, the difficulty when somebody is addicted, it's not a matter of choice. Addiction is, you have a better chance of helping somebody before they become addicted, more public awareness, kind of like cigarette smoking. Once we found out people getting lung cancer, they ran, special ads and stuff like that. You're gonna have to get to them before they're addicted. Once they're addicted, that's a God that you will never replace. And that's what you're seeing here. That they live for one thing and they'll do anything to get it. And safety, they have a needle exchange. They don't care about that. I mean, look at what they're doing. I mean, they're throwing it. My grandchildren that I walk through the city, I have to be careful because there's needles and there's a one woman going around. I don't know who she is, but out of the goodness of her heart, picking them up. And, that's what needs to be addressed, is keeping people that aren't doing it safe. Because we can't change their behavior. They have to want to, and that's almost an impossibility. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else?
I would
Charlotte?
just set up.
Your life.
Yeah. It is very difficult for them to picture anything else than what they're doing. It's a somewhat chaotic situation from when they wake up till when they go to sleep. And that's every day. And somebody is helping, somebody's meeting people for 5 minutes each. And that's a good person to find if they have enough cameras to find that person. But really, alternatives to give somebody a place for treatment, like this needle exchange program. It's like you have a dirty needle. It is dirty. It will hurt you. You can get a clean needle. We'll trade you for the dirty needle. To me, that sounds like it could be an incentive. Some people are just about walking around blind, but other people can make sense out of things. And other people say it's encouraging them. And I can only say that they do not need encouragement. There is no encouragement. They're there already. That you don't get encouraged to do that by helping those people. Helping those people will help those people. And if you help them know that if they don't leave garbage around, people won't hate them all the time. And things could get better. There's a few key things that could happen and should.
It's still open.
Yeah, so come on down.
One moment.
Hi, I'm Christopher Felker, Ward 3 resident. It's nice seeing you all. I appreciate that we brought up the subject of addiction tonight, I recognize how addiction transcends party, political lines, socioeconomic lines. It affects us all. That being said, I think that I too have tremendous concerns about how there are a lack of sober living homes in the area. We've also, since COVID, lost multiple halfway homes. Halfway homes are a really important wraparound support structure for people who are new in recovery. Remember, the goal is to get people away from their addiction, away from the cycle of abuse, and not necessarily enabling it or perpetuating it and the negative behaviors that come along with it. So I appreciate the conversation, that it's still heavy on everybody's hearts. Now, at the same time, I'm very disappointed that the administration is moving forward with the illicit injection sites. These are federally unlawful. They are a violation of the federal crack house statute. People who operate them run the risk of having their property seized. The people who work inside of them run the risk of having their licenses revoked. This is an issue. I think people shooting up, addicts shooting up inside is not the only thing that takes place inside of these facilities. They are also open for anybody of any age. That's what the Vermont law says. If you don't believe me, please look it up. Anybody, so 16-year-olds can be going in, overdosing, being revived, and parents will never, ever know. I don't know how we can get them to be supportive households and we can get our kids to quit doing drugs if you don't even know that they died that afternoon. Okay. We can also smoke methamphetamine and crack inside, and that's just not something you should be able to do.
That's awesome. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Michelle, for timekeeping. Questions, Michelle?
Did I take this up to say something about the meeting?
We've actually,
I move to suspend the rules to extend public forum.
we have a second?
Public forum. All right.
We have a second? Okay, all right, public forum.
What period of time?
For 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah, it's gonna say weird.
5-minute extension? Yes, all right.
That's
Okay, so I'm Charlie G, Board 2. The only comment I want to make is the setup of this room for recording the event. Would it be better if we only had one table in the middle here and then put chairs down the side so that people don't have to turn around and talk to people? And maybe we should take one of these tables out, push these in, and put the chairs around the perimeter. That's my suggestion.
Mike, so that we others sitting back here could hear.
You
know what I'm saying?
Yes, in the future.
Yeah.
I'll take one of these and someone can get it back there. See, typically what happens in the other boards is that the microphone gets pulled back here for here, and it gets pulled back there for the people in the front row, and it gets pulled back that way.
I think she's saying like an amplification.
I mean,
The application's asking a lot.
Trudy, are you asking?
Speaking their diaphragm.
Oh,
I can't.
I'll leave that up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie, for your comments and suggestions. All right.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a?
Second.
Brooks has moved to adjourned. We have a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye. Hey. Any in opposition? Okay, that concludes the special meeting for the Ward 3 Neighborhood Planning Assembly.